Now here's something that's absolutely fantastic that we're all going to want to hear. You can exercise your mind and your body while sitting in a chair. And who's going to explain all that? The inventor himself, Dr. Horst Schaaf, right here tonight on Public Exposure. I'm Stan Emert. And Dr. Schaaf, Horst, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting us. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so you have a company called Corewerks.
Yes.
And it was essentially born because of, let's go ahead and get this slide up, as the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons say, 4 out of 5 people will experience significant back pain.
Yeah, it was born actually to help my son because my son was born with neuromuscular sclerosis, and it turned out that pain and neuromuscular sclerosis have one thing in common in his case, a weak core.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to that in a few minutes. I just wanted to remind everybody, you can go to the Corewerks website, corewerks.com. It's in the process of even getting some very, very cool new stuff, but corewerks.com. But I want to talk a little bit about you first.
Okay.
That kind of, you know, why should we believe you, even though you're a PhD in physics?
Yes, I got my PhD in physics in '83, came over with my wife and worked in lasers from '83 till '95.
In lasers?
Yes.
You mean like blowing up things?
No, not really. I actually was involved in the design of the first cornea reshaping system. Now it's known as LASIK, and a lot of people get it done.
Well, we've got this one patent about you, a method and an apparatus for creating a composite image by the tiling of multiple image frames.
That was in my second life. After lasers, I've got involved in digital imaging and software development.
Really?
And what we did there, we did large frame imaging devices used to put satellite images on very large images. This is like 50 by 50 inches.
And then there's this other one, a variable. Let's see if we can get that up on the screen. But while you're talking about some of the things that you've done, let's go to the next one. The next one. There we are. Here we are. The radial keratotomy.
Right.
That was you?
No, not radial keratotomy is. There are two approaches to ablate an eye or to correct vision. One is RK, where you can cut slits into the eye, and you get this kind of a blurry vision from it because it's an abrupt method. And then there is ablation, where you cut Fresnel fringes or rings into the eye, and you create a lens which is corrected. And we did that in 1984. Can you imagine this?
Wow, that was a long time.
A while to get this into commercial use because the FDA had to approve all these processes. But
so you
nowadays,
worked in lasers, you worked in software. How do how does smart people like you think of all these things?
Mostly in the dreams. No, I like to solve problems, and that was what really attracted me to physics. Finding solutions to problems which are out there, and finding new solutions, finding out-of-the-box solutions. That's my strengths, and looking at things from a different viewpoint.
Well, you talked about your having scoliosis, and actually let's go, scoliosis is a lateral curvature of the spine. Here is a picture of scoliosis. It's pretty ugly.
It's not only a lateral curve, it's actually a twist in the spine. The spine doesn't do, what you do is when you have muscle weaknesses on one side, the spine twists over and you try to compensate with secondary curves. So it's really an S curve. And
is it a genetic thing?
There are several different causes for scoliosis. There is one which my son has, which is neuromuscular, and that is usually happening through lesions in one part of the brain, in one hemisphere of the brain, not on the other. If it were symmetrical, there would be a curve because the muscles would be acting the same way. But if you have more lesions on one side than the other, in the motor cortex area, then the muscles don't know what to do, and they pull and try to stabilize within its frame.
I want to make sure, Nick, you're not a medical doctor.
No, I'm not.
And are you here providing medical advice?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. But I went on to WebMD, though, and I looked up just what happens from a treatment standpoint. And on WebMD, it says that if your child has a spinal curve greater than 45 degrees, surgery should be considered. What was your son's?
It was 82 degrees. It's a so-called COP angle, a combined angle of 82 degrees.
Let's actually go to the picture. And then, you know, this picture is not good to look at. That's your son's back.
Yes, it is. And it's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And the surgeons up at Children's Hospital indicated we should have spine fusion surgery to prevent collapse and damage to the inner organs. And Matthias has
Matthias is your son.
Yeah, my son has a neuromuscular scoliosis, meaning it's a neuromuscular problem, not a bone problem. If you had idiopathic, we wouldn't know what it is. If congenital, you could have one leg shorter or bones fused. But in his case, they were going to address a neuromuscular impairment, something in the brain, by fusing bones. And that didn't sound right to me.
Yeah, in fact, again, I went on WebMD, and it says the main type of surgery for scoliosis is a spinal fusion, and in the procedure, the curved part of the backbone is straightened with rods, wires, hooks, or screws. Then small pieces of bone are put over the spine. These pieces of bone will grow together with the spine, fusing it into a proper position.
The problem is that in scoliosis is you have now, instead of having a flexible piece, you have a stiff piece in there. But the muscles are still firing wrong. That means they're still pulling on it. And the stronger the child gets, it can be happening that they break the rods in the spine, and you have to do the surgery over and over again. And the other problem is that the child continuously experiences pain because the muscles are acting wrong. And that's the reason why I thought that's not right. Let's see how I can improve his posture, own frame of mind, by teaching him how to balance.
Let's go to the next slide, because this insight, you've got 3 insights that we're going to talk about, and one of them is using bone fusion as a treatment for a neuromuscular impairment, but it doesn't, it really doesn't make sense, because one of the reasons is that it doesn't get to the problem.
Yeah, it provides a stable environment for the spine, but the problem is not addressed. And so what happens in this case, the muscles pull hard, you have pain, more pain and more strain in the back. And so I was thinking, maybe we should do something which entices him to sit straight on it. And at that time, I was starting to go through Google and find solutions. How would it be able to entice him to sit straight by his own? And I found something which is called constraint-induced movement therapy, which is used in stroke rehabilitation, where you use moving the afflicted limb through the motions which it's supposed to learn and grow new connections in the brain around the lesion. And so why can't I do that with my son?
What did you talk with at various hospitals about this?
Not at that time. That I wanted to try it out myself first to talk, and then not talk before I had some results. And so, but something which really confused me about the constraint-induced movement was, if you constrain something, you take action away from that muscle part, you weaken it. My goal was to enhance the weak muscles while the other ones can still work. And I called that enticement. And that was the insight. And there said I should find a way to entice him to sit straight, how to balance by himself, and how to learn new things. Well,
let's actually go to another slide. It's about the background. And you wanted to develop a treatment to do that, and the observation was about horse therapy. It enticed his brain to activate his core muscles such that he tried to sit erect immediately. And let's go to insight number 2 on the next slide, because you talked about the proper sensory motor integration can be stimulated through external efforts. And this is what you're talking about here.
That's what I was talking about.
You're not talking about use of drugs.
No.
You're not talking about use of surgery.
No.
You're talking about something external.
Yes. One day I took him to horseback riding, and for a change, instead of sitting crooked in his wheelchair, he was trying to get up straight. And he was trying to do that immediately without training. And I said, oh, well, let's see if we can use that movement, which is exciting the outer muscles for the brain, and then to correct for the posture. How can we use that in his wheelchair? But if you look at a horse in a wheelchair, it's pretty big and ugly. And so I was thinking over the processes involved and analyzing the movement. And then in 2004, I had the idea of the horse in the wheelchair. And that's what we have nowadays as a chair in a wheelchair.
And we're going to talk about that more, but first we're going to take